together. One opinion is that it's every single shul and every single yeshiva. And one opinion is that it's one specific shul, the shul of the leader of the generation. So the Rebbe explains that they're both true. On a smaller scale, it's every shul, every yeshiva is a miniature Beis Hamikdash. But then there's one specific shul that's considered the sort of substitute for the Beis Hamikdash itself, and that one specific shul is the shul that belongs to the leader of the generation. That's the first part. The second part is from page 26 till page 29. And over there he explains the point that not only is this shul different in the time of Golus, but it's also different even when Mashiach comes. Why? When Mashiach comes, all the shuls that are Chutz La'aretz will return to Eretz Yisrael, and they'll be connected to the Beis Hamikdash. So it would be understood that those shuls which are called Beis Rabbeinu Shabbat, those unique shuls, which used to be the substitute for the Mikdash itself, when Mashiach comes, they'll be attached to the Beis Hamikdash itself. And all the other shuls will be attached to them, and through them will be attached to the Beis Hamikdash. So that means not only are they unique now in Golus, they'll also be unique once Mashiach comes in the time of Geula. That's the second point. On page 30, 31 is a third point. What's the third point? That the Gemara says that Hashem will return to out of Golus together with the Yidden. Which means that when we're going out of Golus, Hashem will join us. His Shechina, which is in Golus with us, will start the march to go out of Golus to Geula. So the Rebbe concludes that if we say that Hashem himself will start his sort of ascent out of the Golus to Geula from the place where Yidden are, it follows to say logically that where would this take place? In the Beis Hamikdash of Golus. In other words, that it's the same as with the Beis Hamikdash itself. When Beis Hamikdash will be built, it'll come down from Shemayim down here to earth. That Beis Hamikdash will also, where will it begin a journey? It'll start first in the Beis Hamikdash of Chutz La'aretz, and then from there it'll travel to Eretz Yisrael, and that's where it'll be settled. That's the third point. That the third Beis Hamikdash and Hashem Shechina will be revealed in the Beis Hamikdash of Golus, that one unique Beis Hamikdash, and from there it'll begin its journey to Eretz Yisrael. Then page 32 and 33, well, page 33 is just to reinforce that point from the Rambam, but page 34 until 37, it brings out another point. I feel that last week we did this part rushed, so I want to start from this part. What's the next point? The next point is that the reason why Hashem Shechina is in the Beis Hamikdash more than any other shul in the world is because, of course, you would think the reason is because that's the Beis Hamikdash. That's true. But the Rebbe says, no, there's another reason, or maybe a deeper reason, or the ultimate reason is because that's the place where all the Jews are found together. And the Shechina rests because of Yidden. So therefore, there's no shul in the world that has that many people together like the Beis Hamikdash. Because that's a place where everybody's obligated to go. That's the Rebbe's point. So let's see this inside. To elaborate on the unique greatness of Beis Rabbeinu. Beis Rabbeinu's superiority over all the synagogues and study halls lies also in the fact that it's the house of Rabbeinu, the Nasi of the Der, who is the teacher of all the exiles, and the Nasi who occurs, and the Nasi is everyone. What does that mean? To explain, Ikar Hashchina, the Ashras Hashchina, this is the part that I meant. Ikar Hashchina, the Ashras Hashchina Beis Hamikdash B'Yisrael. Why is the primary Shechina in the Beis Hamikdash more than any other place? Because of Yidden, Mitzad Ma'ilosam Shal Yisrael. Because of the greatness of Yidden, because Hashem loves Yidden. Like it says, Yisrael v'Kutchabrichu Kul Echad. Hashem and Yidden are one. As it says, V'osoli Migdash, build a sanctuary, V'shachanti b'seichem, I will dwell in them. And Chazal say that it says b'seicham in them, plural. It doesn't say b'seichai in. So it dwells, Hashem dwells within the heart of every Jew. But this one building that has all the Jews together, so Hashem's presence dwells there in a greater measure than any place else. So therefore, with the that's the Shechina in the time of Golus, is in that shul that has most of the Yidden. So he says, in fact, this idea that the Shechina is present in this place because of Yidden, that's also found in the Gemara. It starts off like this. This is the way the Gemara starts off. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, Bo Yorei, come and see. Kamo Chavivim Yisrael Lefnei Kodesh Baruch Hu, how precious Yidden are by Hashem. Shebechol Makom Shegolu, wherever Yidden go to Golus, Shechina Imam, the Shechina comes with them. Not only that, Elashes Galus Hashchina Beis Hamikdash. The reason why the Shechina is revealed in the Beis Hamikdash in the greater measure is because over there is where most of the Yidden are. All the Yidden get together. B'voy Kol Yisrael. In the Beis Hamikdash, all the Jews come, but Makom HaSheyivcha, in that place that Hashem chose. In fact, this is also the reason why Hashem's Shechina is more in a shul than any place else. Of course, one reason is because this place is designated for learning and designated for davening. But the other reason is, of course, a lot of Yidden come together. Now, even though you might have a convention one day and a lot of Yidden come together, but that's a one-time thing. This is a place that's designated for hundreds of Jews or thousands of Jews or sometimes 10 Jews, but a group comes together. Because the group comes together, Hashem's presence is there because they're so precious to him. Yeah.
So it's not about like a shul being, big enough for it to house like thousands. Like, I don't know if there are other shuls like in the world that they house thousands of Jews also, maybe there's something that exists like that too in a different place or something, but it's more so the aspect that all Jews can and could and did or do still come to that place, not like that it's all the time just thousands of people because the community is that
But it
big.
does seem from this that if there's a shul where there are thousands of Jews that come there on a regular basis, that would have in some way more Shechina than a shul that has just 10 people coming on a regular basis.
Right, but I guess I'm asking, like, is it just based off of attendance? Like literally, like if there was another show that had like 1,001 and this one has 1,000, then this becomes the basic remaining show of all
I don't
of them.
know where the cutoff line is, if
Right.
it's 1,001, 1,002. But the fact that it's more Yidden, and Hashem says, I'm there where Yidden are, so where there are more Yidden, that's where Hashem is there more. But the one place is unique is the Beis Hamikdash, because it's not more Yidden, that's all the Yidden. That's one place that all Jews come to. When it comes to Yontif, everybody has to be there. The only place, all other shuls, you don't have all the Jews. Only the Jews, local, who live in this city, in this community, in this place. The one place that all Yidden come to is the Beis Hamikdash. But on a smaller scale, being that this is a place where 10 Yidden come, no matter where it is, even in some hick town, but they have a minyan, in that place, 10 Yidden get together, Hashem Shechina is there also, on a smaller scale. But now the Rebbe says we can appreciate more also what's so unique about Beis Rabbeinu. Let's turn the page to 36, 37. This is one of the reasons that the shuls and the yeshivas are called miniature Beis Hamikdash, because the Beis Hamikdash, that's where all the Yidden got together, and that's where the general Shechina is found. Shenikra Knesset Yisrael. In fact, the Shechina in Gemara and Medrash is also referred to as Knesset Yisrael. That's one of the names for the Shechina, the gathering of Yidden, because it's the source of Knesset Yisrael, Shalamata, for the gathering Yidden down here. Mashen came about the Knesset, but the Midrashim Barotzis, Asher Bo Shom B'chol Medina, Medina Ir Va'ir. So in the Beis Hamikdash, where all the Yidden came together, therefore the general collective Shechina is there. But out in Golus, where there are small shuls and yeshivas here and there, and it's smaller numbers, so therefore it's a certain aspect, a certain part of the Shekhinah that manifests there, but not the whole sort of collective, general Shekhinah should be found there, because it's not all the Yidden. So that's the difference. Again, if the Shekhinah is manifest in this place because the Yidden are there, so there's a difference. If it's all the Yidden, then it's all of the Shekhinah, so to speak, if we can use that term. It means the general Shekhinah, that's the source of everything. If it's just a few Yidden, then it's just a certain aspect of the Shekhinah, a certain part of the Shekhinah. In the light of the above, we can better appreciate the uniqueness of Beis Rabbeinu Shem. Why? Because this is the place of the Nasi Ader. And a Nasi who akel. The Nasi is everyone. Shekel Kaladar, his neshama includes the whole generation. So remember, we brought that medrash that said when Moshe Rabbeinu was born, 600,000 Yidden were born. So basically, Moshe Rabbeinu embodies in himself the whole Klal Yisrael. And the same with all the Yidden, all in every Nasi. So that means that because the Nasi is there, it's as if all the Yidden are there. And if all the Yidden are there, then the whole Shekhinah is there. That's the connection. Me'ain the Dugmas, that's why it's similar to the Shekhinah in the Beis Hamikdash. The only difference is in the Beis Hamikdash, there were physically all the Yidden there. Over here, it's the Nasi that includes all the Yidden that's there. But the idea that all the Yidden are present is also true. So you know that in Chassidus, very often it explains how everything works with a certain pattern, and the pattern is, and the structure is, this is the infrastructure of everything, that there's a general source, and then from there it branches out to the details. So also there's the general Shekhinah, and that's in the Beis Hamikdash, and from there Hashem Shekhinah spreads to different parts of the world. So therefore, there's also the general Shekhinah in that shul, and from there it spreads to all the shuls and all the yeshivas around the world. There's another thing. The house of the Nasi Ader, Kol Ader, Derech Bedugmas Talpias, Tail Shekol Pias Pernamboy. There's a pasuk where it uses the word Talpias to describe the Beis Hamikdash. So the Gemara says it means it's a mountain that all mouths turn to that direction, which means all the Yidden are going there. So the truth is, with the Nasi, it's the same thing. If he's the leader of the generation, then other rabbis and leaders and people that are looking for inspiration will all come there. So even physically, it attracts more people than anything else in the rest of the world. So that's what the Rebbe explains. This is the point in page 36 to 37, that the reason why the Mikra Shechina is found in the Beis Hamikdash is because that's where all the Yidden are, and wherever the Nasi is, that's where all the Yidden are there. Now the Rebbe says there's another point. This is a new point. Mila is based on Rabbanan Shabbat. What's another Mila? Benegeyam. What's the Mila of the Shul of the Nasi? It's a specific Mila that's specifically related to Geula. Rabbeinu is the Nasi Adar. Remember we said Rabbeinu is referring to Rav, who is the leader of the Jewry in Babel. Nasi Adar Gam HaMashiach, Goylin Yisrael Shabadar. The leader of the generation, the Nasi of the generation, is also the Mashiach of the generation. Remember I told you last time that this point is really anything the Rebbe says, I look in the footnotes. Where's the source? And over here, there is no source. That means that this is the Rebbe's. The Rebbe is the source, but the Rebbe explains it. So I'd like to do this footnote inside, and it's 53. Is it 53? The footnotes in English have different numbers. What does that mean? Let me just see how they correspond. In the Hebrew, it's 53, and in the English, it's probably the next page. Let me see.
Just
Yeah,
like clarifying question,
yeah,
that the last point that you said, that wherever the Nasi is, that's where all the Yidden are found. Like,
yeah.
like physically, practically, all the Yidden go to the Nasi because he's the leader. But then spiritually, like the Nasi has all the, like he's like the collective.
Right,
soul, so
2
he
points.
also has
There's 2 separate
spiritually
points.
all the Yidden.
Right, right,
Inside.
right. Yeah, both points are there.
I have a question too.
Yeah,
So
it's 81, I
Rebbe
guess.
is
Yeah.
saying that
What?
If the Rebbe is saying that the leader of the generation is a Mashiach, if he was the leader of the generation, is he admitting that he's Mashiach?
You have to draw your own conclusions. And here the Rebbe explains it. Why is he saying that the leader of the generation is Mashiach of the generation? Look at 81. Note that a spark of Mashiach exists within each and every Jew. And this resolves an apparent contradiction between 2 Talmudic teachings on the words, a star issued from Yaakov. According to one teaching, it refers to Mashiach. That's in the Gemara Yerushalmi. According to another teaching, it refers to every single Jew. That's also in Gemara Yerushalmi. In light of the above, there's no contradiction because each and every Yid possesses a spark of Mashiach soul. There's a sefer called Ma'or Einayim, and that was written by Reb Nachum of Chernobyl. Reb Nachum of Chernobyl was one of the students of the Maggid of Mezrich. In fact, it's interesting, he was the oldest student of the Maggid. I don't know if you remember, we said in the beginning of the year that the Maggid had double the amount of the Baal Shem Tov. Baal Shem Tov had 60 students that were his intimate circle of students. Each one was a Rebbe, was a tzaddik in his own right. One of them was the Maggid of Mezrich, and the other tzaddikim. They all later branched out and became different leaders. So the Mezrich Maggid also had such students, but he had double, not 60, but 120. The Alter Rebbe was the youngest. Reb Nachum of Chernobyl was the oldest. The Frierdiker Rebbe, by the way, is a descendant of Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, from his mother's side, from his father's side, right? A descendant of Reb Nachum of Chernobyl, because the Schneerson family and Chernobyl family intermarried twice. So the Chernobyl is the name Twersky. If you ever heard the name Twersky, I'm sure you did. So all the Twerskys, they are descendants of Chernobyl. That's Milwaukee, yeah. So the Rebbe always brings this from him. He's the one that says that every Jew, just like Mashiach is the Yechida, and he contains all the neshamas in him, on the other hand, every Jew has a spark of Mashiach in them. You hear the point? That we both have sort of each other in us. Since every Yid possesses a Yechida, the 5th and innermost level of the soul, and every individual Yechida is a spark of the comprehensive Yechida, which is Mashiach. And since the Nasi is everything, he compromises all the individual sparks of Mashiach. Therefore, his soul is preface the comprehensive Yechida. Hence, he is the Mashiach of the generation. Then the Rebbe also points out to the fact when the Gemara says who's Mashiach in our generation, one opinion says that it's Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And even in this story, it's Rab who was the leader at that point. So that's what the Rebbe is saying. Being that Nasi Adar means that he's also the Mashiach of the generation, Kidu, as it's known. For example, Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the Nasi and he was also the Mashiach. He was the Redeemer. As it's known that in every generation there is someone that is designated because of his righteousness, I'm going back to the original text, to be the Redeemer. And when the time will come, Hashem will reveal himself to this person, and he will send him to take Yidden out of Golus. These words are a quote from the Chassam Sofer. Chassam Sofer is one of the biggest one of the biggest authorities of halacha in the last 200-300 years. So that's what he says. Then there's another quote, which is from the Bar Tanura. He's a famous commentator on Mishnayos. And he says, Mistaber Leimer. No. I'm sorry. This is just some sefer. Mistaber Leimer, so logic dictates that who is that person in every generation? It's the Nasi of the generation. Like it says in Gemara, reference to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Omar Rab said, in Minchayahu, if Mashiach is amongst those that are living now, because he could also be someone who lived in the past and will come back to Tchisa Mesim. But if he's alive now, then who is it? Rabbeinu HaKadosh. And the Rebbe brings the quote from Rashi. In Mashiach Ma'isen Shechayin Akshav, if Mashiach is one of those people that are living today, Vadai Hainu Rabbeinu HaKadosh, it's certainly Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Why? Because he was the Nasi of the generation. So you see from here the association between the Nasi and Mashiach. And the logic behind it is because the Nasi is the Yechida of the whole Klal Yisrael, and Mashiach, the spark of Mashiach, is the Yechida in every Jew.
Are Rabbeinu HaKadosh and Rav the same person?
No, two different people. Rav was a student of Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Rabbeinu HaKadosh was in Eretz Yisrael, and Rav was in Babel. But Rav was also like Rabbeinu HaKadosh. In fact, the word Rav is not really a name. Rav in Aramaic is like Rabbeinu in Hebrew. Is our teacher. So Mizeh, moving from this, it's understood She'ikar in Yaner Shal Beis Rabbeinu Shel Bavel, that the main thing that defines Beis Rabbeinu Shel Bavel is the Geula in Bavel, is going out of Bavel, Aiden Sinus Koyach Leklolus Avedasim Shel Yisrael. This is through Yidden having the power to make Bavel into Eretz Yisrael. What does that mean? Kidu HaPizgam, page 41. Like it's known, the famous quote from the Tzemach Tzedek, Asay Kan Eretz Yisrael. There's a story with the Tzemach Tzedek where he one time had a chassid that asked him permission to relocate to Eretz Yisrael. He had a plan. I guess he was older. He wanted to go live there. And he said to Tzemach Tzedek he wants to go live in Eretz Yisrael and spend his time learning and davening. Tzemach Tzedek said, why do you have to go there? Magda Eretz Yisrael. Make this place that you're living here into Eretz Yisrael. Which obviously, Tzemach Tzedek saw that his shlichus is not there, but it's here. And what is the shlichus? You'll be in Eretz Yisrael, but transform the place that you're in into, how do you transform a place into Eretz Yisrael? Eretz Yisrael means a land that's holy. Make your environment into a holy environment, so you're turning it into Eretz Yisrael. I once had something similar. I went to, I was in Camp Gan Yisrael, and there was an older chassid there. His name was Rabbi Hendel Lieberman. He was a Hasidic artist, actually. There's a lot of his art is around. And unfortunately, he lost his family in the war. He was all by himself. And he had a very unique relationship with the Rebbe. The Rebbe was very close to him for whatever reason. So this person was in the country, in the camp, Ben Yisrael, and he said to me, maybe he's like, 4 times my age, maybe we can learn something together. Okay, I'll learn together with him. One time in a learning, he gets a phone call. So it's an important phone call. So he went to get the phone call. Comes back, it was the Rebbe's secretary, Rabbi Chadakov. Why did he call? The Rebbe wanted to know how he's feeling, how he's doing. Then he tells me, I actually wrote the Rebbe that I want to go to Eretz Yisrael this summer. So the Rebbe said, what are you going to Eretz Yisrael? You can go to Gan Yisrael. So that's why he came to the camp. So obviously, it's not just a play on words. The Rebbe sees that this person's shlichus is here, and this person's shlichus is there, and so on. So by us transforming wherever we are into Eretz Yisrael, how do we accomplish this? Mainly through the shuls and the yeshivas. In other words, in every local community, what would be the place which is the source that's sort of generating spirituality in our community is the shul, where we daven, is the yeshiva, where people are learning. And from there, we transform it, and from there we can go to Maham Nimshachas Akdusha B'chol Eretz Amim. By doing that, we bring Kedusha in all the land that belong to the nations. Through this, we hasten and we accomplish what it says, Eretz Yisrael. In the future, Eretz Yisrael will spread to all the other countries. What does it mean? Actually, all the countries in the world will become like Eretz Yisrael is today. So what will be with Eretz Yisrael? It will become higher than it is today. All of Eretz Yisrael will be like Yerushalayim. And I guess Yerushalayim will be something higher than it is today also. And that's what it means when it says Yerushalayim will spread to all of Eretz Yisrael. And that's all the shuls and all the shivas will be connected to it. As by the way, I think those who were learned this in the Rambam are familiar with this. So does that mean that it's possible that we won't have to go to Eretz Yisrael because the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael spreads to the whole world? So I could be here in America. I can hold on to my house and to my yard and to my my estate, whatever it is, and the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael will be all over. But the answer is no, because this is one of the things the Rambam writes in Halacha. And in Halacha, there are no metaphors. So when it says in Halacha that one of the things Mashiach will accomplish is bring Jews back to Eretz Yisrael, it means the physical, geographic borders which are Eretz Yisrael today. But spiritually, the whole world will become different than it is now, it'll become more Kedusha. And that's where the whole world will be different. People will be different. The whole world will recognize Hashem. They'll observe their seven mitzvahs. And even the land that they live in will have more Kedusha. But Eretz Yisrael itself will have more than it has now. But how is it, what will be sort of the method, what that we need to do something to prepare the world to be able to contain such Kedusha, is by now being all over, learning, davening, and doing mitzvahs, and we're making our environment into Eretz Yisrael. The cave and Shikha, so the Rebbe concludes, being that the main thing of Beis Rabban Shemababel is kibbutz basivas kolabotik nesiyas. The main thing is to take all the shuls and all the yeshivas that are in Golus and bring them to Eretz Yisrael. They should all become connected to the Beis Hamikdash. So therefore, Hulbarak Mikdash Ma'ata Ikri B'Bavel, Alagam Mokum Mikdash Gufi de La'asid. That means that every shul and every yeshiva becomes part of the Beis Hamikdash, where Hashem will ultimately be revealed, and then from there it'll return back to Yerushalayim. So, what is the main point of this last part? The main point is the Maila Beis Rabbeinu Shemabavim. Number one, because the Nasi contains all the Yidden, and number two is because the Nasi is the one who's the Mashiach of the generation. So therefore, that's the place which has in it the light of the Beis Hamikdash, like it was in Yerushalayim. And when Mashiach comes, it will return to Yerushalayim. There's another very interesting thing here, and that is that it's also a footnote. I wanted to show this to you. A footnote here in the Hebrew, it's 58. And in the English, that would be footnote 90. It says in this Day Chemed that they would evaluate in every generation. It means to speculate in every generation who is the Mashiach of the generation. And he writes, Rabbeinu HaKadosh was in his generation, they said, and they knew that he was the designated one. And so too in every generation there must be one who is worthy of this. In case the generation is worthy of Mashiach, likewise the disciples of that Arizal wrote that in his generation he was the one. Then he concludes all this is obvious. So in every generation people speculated who is Mashiach. So when you hear somebody say, you're not allowed to speculate who is Mashiach, you can show them the Seichemet, which is also, he was a Pesach, not just he was an authority of halacha. And there's a very interesting point that Rabbi brings out here, and let me say it the next few seconds that we have, and that is, do we have time? Let me try. In Pirkei Avos, it says in Pirkei Avos, trying to figure out how to close it. Show me one time and I remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This is the third time you showed me one time how to do it. Okay.
I'll keep showing you one more time.
Yeah. It says very interesting thing that it says a person will be judged by Hashem, and the words that it uses, remember, one day you'll be standing in front of Hashem to give a din v'cheshvan. Din means a judgment, the cheshvan means an account. What comes first, judgment or an account? No, the words are, but what should come first? The judgment or the accounting? First you make an accounting of the mitzvahs and the opposite, and then you give a judgment. Here it says, first judgment, then account. So Baal Shem Tov says something very powerful, that a person should be careful never to chas v'sholom pass judgment on another person. Why? Because the truth is Hashem will never pass judgment on anyone unless they themselves agree that they should get this judgment. Now, which person in the world is going to agree that they should get a certain judgment? What Hashem does is what Hashem writes and brings the sources from Gemara. What Hashem does is he arranges that someone does something similar to what you did. And then you say, did you hear what that person did? They deserve to be A, B, and C. Now you pass judgment on that person. Now Hashem says, you self-judge that for doing this, you deserve that. So now that judgment goes on you. So first comes the judgment, and then Hashem makes the account. So one of the things popular in the Rebbe's Sichos is that the good is always better than the negative. If this rule applies in the negative, it surely should apply in the positive. That if you pass judgment and you say something in the positive, indirectly, you're passing judgment on yourself as well in a positive way. And the Rebbe would say this very often in reference to things like the Friedrich Rebbe said something about the Alter Rebbe, that he was this way or that way, he was capable to do this or capable to do that. The Rebbe would say, even though he wasn't talking about himself, but because he said this about the Alter Rebbe, indirectly, he was really passing judgment on himself in a positive way. Same over here. Rav said about Rabbi Yehuda Nasi that he is Mashiach in our generation because he's the Nasi. Now Rav became the Nasi. So by passing judgment on Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, indirectly, he passed judgment on himself. And that's why the Gemara says, Beis Rabbeinu Shebababo is actually the shul of Rav. Okay, we'll stop here. And up until now, the Rebbe spoke about the idea in general. The next part of the Sicha begins with, now, how does all this apply to our generation? That's how it begins. That we'll do Friday, Mirza Hashem, page 43. Very welcome. Okay.
I have a lot of questions. I wrote them down.
Okay, good.
Why am I on here?